tonight I want to talk to you about an issue that I think will affect you all, and that is supermarkets. What on earth is going on? There's been calls for them to be investigated, basically, about food inflation. This comes from the leader of the Lib Dems, Davey. He wants the Competition and Markets Authority to be looking into them. Also, as well, I can't help but notice there is so much division at the moment between the cost on the shelf and then the cost if you've got a loyalty card. Those discounts really are quite deep at the moment. And also, another thing that's caught my eye when it comes to supermarkets are the barriers. In so many places now, you can't get out unless you're scanning your receipts, apparently, to try and get on top of shoplifting. Pick whichever of those angles you like. What do you make to it all, Connor?
I definitely accept the fact that the loyalty card scheme might be an avenue for price gouging. My worry about all of this is another political distraction, like we've seen with, and I'm sure you might agree with me on this, with the debates between public sector unions and the government, and then turn around and saying, especially in the US with Biden as well, saying all these companies are price gouging everything from energy to food, and they've got to bring down their prices. There's absolutely no room in this discussion at the moment to say, hang on a minute, why is inflation going up to at least 15% and you're just saying it's 10? What was the policies that meant it so that all these prices are going up? Could it be the fact that in the last 3 years alone, 33% of all dollars that have ever existed were created? Was it the policies that all of the governments around the world decided all at once, and all of the parties in this country, was a great idea, paying people to sit at home, and now we're facing the repercussions of that?
Kevin?
I don't know where to start with the broader economic analysis of how we managed to get through lockdown as a country by ensuring that we did things like furlough and other subsidies, but albeit our current government did waste a ton of money in the pandemic. But going back to the question about supermarkets, it doesn't sit well when you see some of the profits, although I would say Tesco's profit has gone down as a percentage, right? The Chief Exec Ken Murphy is very clear about that, but people are feeling it, 20% in 1 year, and it's tough to see. And I think, am I right, did a supermarket lock customers in the past couple of weeks?
Well, what they've done, and there's a few places doing this, I know some Sainsbury's stores have been doing it, I think some Waitrose stores have been doing it, even some Aldi stores have been doing it. They've been putting barriers up, and what you've got to do is you've got to scan your receipt to get out, and if you've not bought anything, you've got to call the security guard over to let yourself out. They're saying it's all about curbing shoplifting. Some critics are saying, hang on a second, you've got all of this apparatus now, you've got your self-checkout, you've got your cameras here, there and everywhere, you've now got these barriers up, and it's all a little bit feeling controlling to people. Would you agree with that, Connor?
Yeah, well, we don't know who they're even selling the data onto. And funnily enough, about the receipts as well, there's been programs like Google have started a new reward system where everywhere you go, if you have your maps turned on, they'll find the location, they'll estimate what shop you went to, and they'll reward your Google wallet if you scan the receipt for them, so they can sell what purchases and decisions you make probably onto advertisers. So it does very much feel like we're becoming the product that all of these businesses are selling to each other.
Well, data, and big data as it's known as well, that is one of the most valuable commodities in this world, isn't it? And I think it's one, and we'll come on to perhaps fraud a little bit later on in the programme, but actually whilst it's a very valuable commodity, it is easily accessed and hacked. But are you comfortable with people having your data and knowing all about you? And
yeah, I mean, look, in my industry, in the daytime where I work in public relations and we do a lot of digital marketing and stuff like that, then yeah, the loyalty cards are a mechanism to get close to your customer, right? They can predict what day Michelle buys her favourite product, what days that they have certain things ready for us according to our taste. We're all profiled by supermarkets and political parties, and if we don't want to do it, we just don't sign up to loyalty cards, and we choose to shop in a different way. But it is unfortunately a part of life.
Oh, you do. What I did today, I'm very proud of myself today. I saved a whopping £28 today, right? It's a true story, except I was buying some face cream, and I worked at a supermarket, but it was, one of them had like at least a tenner off, one of them had 12 quid off, and all I did is I thought, I don't want you having all my data, thank you very much. So I just went and got a paper card, application form, took the card off, scanned it, got my discount, and then put it in the bin.
Did you?
I did.
Is that
I'm very
lawful?
proud of myself.
Is that lawful?
Why is it not lawful?
I don't know.
Do I look to you like a criminal?
Well, No comment on.
It's definitely lawful.
You'll be
And
getting
I
locked
would
in the
say,
supermarket soon, otherwise.
Yeah.
yeah, and I would say it's actually quite sensible, actually, because yes, I want the discounts, but I don't necessarily want you knowing every single inch and movement of what I do, where I go, what I buy, what I like, what I don't like. It's a little bit of a step too far for me, although I am a tight northerner, so I do like a discount, so it's a little bit of a middle ground, isn't it? What do you guys make to it all? I want your thoughts. Tonight, instead of fining supermarkets for profiteering, force them to reduce their prices for 1 month, says Nick. So it'll be customers that benefit, not the Treasury. Daryl says the energy companies, the water companies, the supermarkets, the fuel companies, basically he says they're all profiteering from the cost of living crises. Ian says, I can understand why supermarkets are putting barriers up at unmanned checkouts, but have they looked at how this would affect evacuation of the stores in an emergency? Good point there, Ian. The receipt on the way out is a nuisance, says Sue, but she can understand it if people are stealing from the shop. You know, well, I used to be a checkout girl, actually, and some of these supermarkets make me laugh because they used to have people like me that physically used to scan their products in order to... Was you a checkout guy?
Yeah, I did. Well, I wasn't a checkout girl.
No, guy. I said guy.
There we go.
You might have identified as a girl, I don't know.
Oh, this
but
day
anyway.
and age, I did Morrison's at the Christmas period. It was rather hectic.
Oh, Morrison's very posh. Have you been on checkout?
Yeah, I have.
You was at what supermarket?
Sainsbury's, Boots.
Sainsbury's, Boots, Morrison's. I was at Quick Save. I don't know if you remember Quick Save. I had the fastest checkout on the north, so I did. Anyway, these checkouts, these supermarkets now, they've binned all those staff off, replaced it with machines, and now start crying that people are pinching stuff. Make of that what you will. I won't say too much, else I'll get myself into trouble.